So I'm Mukilan R. I did my graduation in automobile engineering from Anna University MIT campus, and now I had secured All India Rank 404. So I welcome you all to the live session where I will be discussing about the various strategies which are used for cracking the civil services examination. So we'll discuss one by one, starting from the prelims, mains, and then at last to the interview stage. So at max, I'll try to keep it more specific to 2025 preparation, as well as I'll give you more insights about the anthropology preparation because I had faced lots of misguidance, especially for my anthropology optional. So if there is any audio interruption or any video interruption, kindly note it down in the comment section so that it helps me to know, so I can change accordingly. So first, let's start. I'll briefly sum up my journey, where it began and how it began. So the year was 2021 when COVID virus had hit actually. So at that time, I began my UPSC preparation officially. So I started with the basics books such as NCRTs, as well as and slowly I started watching the freely available resources on the YouTube, such as Vision IAS, Vision IAS videos, so that I can know about the basics concepts which are employed in the syllabus. So once I gained the conceptual clarity, it took me almost around 6 months. Then I moved towards solving test series. My age is currently 24, and this is my second attempt in the civil services examination. So after finishing the basic books, we'll address your queries one by one. First, in the first half an hour, I'll brief my journey as well as what are all the strategies and the sources I had used, and then I'll discuss about the various kind of questions you have. So first, so I was telling about different sources I used during this exam. So first, I read all the NCRTs from class 6 to 12. Since I'm from a science background and not from the humanities background, so I use the basic materials such as NCRTs, Indian Polity by Lakshmikant, Spectrum, as well as for ancient and medieval history. I used the class 11th and class 12th NCRTs of Tamil Nadu. And also for art and culture, I specifically read few chapters from Nitin Singhania, as well as I read down the fine arts NCRT, that is the class 11th NCRT. And for geography, I relied on the four NCRT books, class 11th and 12th, and I supplemented with maps as well as the various websites such as PMFIAS, where it has extensive coverage of geography. Where immediately, if I have any doubt, if I need any conceptual clarity, I move to the mostly this video will be in English so that it will be helpful for non-Hindi background students as well. So yes, and after finishing the basic books, I move towards the subject-specific preparation. Like for example, in mains, you need to do more subject-wise preparation and strategies. For each and every paper, there are different approaches which needs to be followed, which I'll discuss in the meantime. So once these basic books are done, it took me proper 6 months. Then I started my prelims preparation. So I solved close to 70 to 80 full length mocks during the 5 months before prelims. But I ignored CSAT during my first attempt. As well as for GS, I solved the mock test but did not analyze it. It costed me an attempt, so I couldn't clear in the 2022 prelims. So I deeply analyzed my mistakes where I was lagging, so that what I did in the second attempt, I was preparing for this first attempt in my home itself. So to get that competitive environment, I moved to Bengaluru, where I enrolled for a test series, and I was almost regular in most of the test series which I had attempted. So I had almost finished the entire test series. Enrolled for a year-long test series. So that helped me actually. So after that, what I used to do is in the first iteration of test, if you enroll for a year-long test series, you'll have like a different patterns. They'll do the test series in iterations. So what I used to do is I first for example, if there is a test on polity, you'll have some 5 days for revising the politics. Polity. So what I used to do is first 3 days I would read the sources which I had already read for my previous attempt, and in the fourth day I would summarize what I had written and make main specific notes for each and every keyword mentioned in the syllabus. And in the fifth day I would write a mains test, and in the sixth day I would write a prelims test. By this, my entire polity will be over in two tests. So like that, I had used that approach. And for each and every subject, for a polity, studying Lakshmikant alone won't help for mains. You should go beyond Lakshmikant, so that will help a lot. And after finishing this polity by Lakshmikant, and then slowly economy will come. Polity and economy will be the most time consuming subjects if you are a beginner. So my advice is to finish these subjects as early as possible. So finish those two subjects as early as possible and then move towards the other two subjects. So for polity, I completely relied on the Lakshmikant for prelims, and for mains, I supplemented with the only AS value added materials, and also I quoted important judgments and other news articles from various newspapers. For example, if there is a good quote about federalism, I would take it and I would add it in my Evernotes. So if you want any of my notes, you can reach out to me to the Telegram channel UPSC with Mukil. And also, I'm on Instagram. You can directly message me if you have any personal queries. And next is I would discuss about the GS2. I'm discussing GS2. So polity is over, and for governance, you can go for the vision value added materials. And main thing about governance is quote more examples wherever possible. Quote more examples, and you can have a collection of good governance initiatives. So what I used to do is there is Indian Express Governance Excellence Awards. So I had collected the examples which might be helpful for both GS2 as well as GS4. So that I had used a lot in my answers. And also if there is any good governance initiatives, for example, Rwanda has a zipper system where one third of the where more women representatives are there. So I had quoted this in a question on constitutional provisions related to women in the conclusion. So these kind of steps could be taken. Like that, I had concluded in the answer. So most of your answers should be futuristic. And next, coming to the polity and governance. So these are all the sources and strategies I follow. Next, after polity, there is international relations. So for international relations, you should go for the more current affairs oriented preparation. The Hindu and Indian Express have good collection of international relations related articles. Writers such as Raj Mohan write regularly on Indian Express, so you can write their views directly on your exam as well. So follow those articles which are highly relevant. So don't overdo international relations as well. For example, when I was preparing, there was Russia-Ukraine war. So every single day there used to be a coverage. There would be an editorial which is related to the Russia-Ukraine war. So if you are almost aware of what are all the things which are happening in that war, so that the need for doing more would be less. So once you are done with the, so rather than going for each and every newspaper articles, analyze what that particular person or the author is trying to convey. So that might help. That might help you a lot. So I am done with GS2. Now I'll go for GS1. For GS1, main thing is you should read your prelims very well. So that will help a lot. For example, in geography, most of the questions are conceptual, which you can answer with the prelim specific knowledge. For specific few topics such as distribution of key natural resources, minerals, etc. So those kind of questions you can refer to the Vision IAS or Only IAS handout. So that might help you a lot. And for society, I would suggest if you are from sociology or anthropology optional, most of the things which might be covered in your option itself. For others, you can go for the each and every keyword. For example, if for communalism, you should have a 2 to 3 pages notes with a ready-made intro and a ready-made conclusion, what you will do in that, what you are going to write in that exam form. And similarly, for society, if you prepare each and every keywords in the syllabus, so that might be helpful. And then for art and culture, for prelims, yeah, it would be more of a factual content. For mains, focus on the art and architectural structures and styles. For example, most of the years, if you analyze well, there will be two questions from the architectural patterns of different eras. For example, this year there was a question on the Delhi Sultanate, and in the previous year there was a question on Vijayanagar Kingdom, and another one question might be from literature of different periods. For example, the question on Sangam literature, etc. So give specific focus when you're studying for prelims during in these areas. Nowadays, questions from ancient and medieval also come in the art and culture portion. So what I would suggest you is read your prelims well as for at least revise your notes once during the 3 months breaks which you are going to get after your prelims. And after this geography and society, you will have history. For history, modern history, whatever you read from spectrum is sufficient. But one extra thing I had done is I read the summary of Class A to Class D partition, which is posted by Mandarpati sir on his Telegram channel. So the important quotes, etc., can be used in your intros and conclusions. So this with this, our GS1 is over. Now we'll move to GS3. GS3 is the most lengthiest, as well as the cost benefit ratio for GS3 is also less. So what I would suggest you is, so internal security and agriculture, prepare these two very comprehensively. Like for agriculture, each and every keyword mentioned in the syllabus, prepare 3 to 4 pages notes. You'll get 4 questions, 2 to 4 questions on agriculture every year, as well as 4 questions on internal security. So the themes of these questions might be repeated. So what I would suggest is, for agriculture, have good mention of schemes, have good mention of the different practices which are employed. So do good value addition for agriculture related content. You can use the vision value added material or only as Prahar material for agriculture. And then next, we come to the internal security part. For internal security part, you can read the book Channels to Challenges to Internal Security of India, as well as the book, as well as the only as Prahar material. So if you read these two, most of your agriculture and internal security portions might be covered. And now coming to the economy, this is the most unpredictable part of all your GS1 to GS3. You don't know from where the questions might come. So for economy, what I would suggest you is, so read whatever you read for prelims. During the prelims time itself, cover your economy very well. For example, and one more thing you can add upon for your mains is the summary of budget and economic survey. And I used to follow the Mrunal sir notes completely for economy. So both my prelims as well as mains was covered from that as well. This quality enrichment program for mains is also something which I had referred for value addition in my answers. So I would suggest you for mains for valuation, what you can do is you can read the last 5 years Yojana summary. So that might be helpful during your preparation. So now coming towards the disaster management. Disaster management, it will come in your both GS1 as well as GS3. For this, as max as possible, collect good examples of disaster. So this year there was a question on any 2 case studies you should write about the dam slides as dam failures. So that will help you. So if you had a good collection, and in the previous year they asked about the recent volcanoes which are adapted. So that might so having this kind of repository might help you a lot. And then in GS3 environment, it is like at max 1 or 2 questions might come. So whatever you had read for prelims, but that might be sufficient. For prelims, I refer to the PMFIA's environment material. So you can follow that, or also as others suggested, you can go for Shankarai's environment as well. And this year there was a question on various Ramsar sites. So with the prelims knowledge itself, you can able to attempt these questions. So actually, the cost benefit ratio for environment in mains is very less, 1 or 2 questions. For mains in the 3 months, you should prioritize which subject has more cost benefit ratio, which subject has very less cost benefit ratio, and then you should prioritize the various subjects. And then coming to ethics, so I had scored 121 in ethics this time. So, and this is my first mains as well. So for ethics, as I said earlier, I refer to the forum IAS material and the lexicon for ethics, integrity, and aptitude, and I collected various examples of these various examples from websites such as the Better India, Change.org, etc. So that helped me a lot. So now coming towards answer writing strategies and how to practice answer writing. So if you are a beginner, so I would suggest you first go through the different PYQs and then you start writing. For example, if you read about federalism from Lakshmikant, go to the PYQ, how the examiner had framed questions on federalism. So analyze whether you are able to attempt these questions on the topic of federalism. So since it is the PYQ, now you have ready-made solutions of PYQ available. You can refer to that, and or else what you can do is you can just refer to the question, which there are various toppers copies which are available on the internet. So you can write the question from the topper copy and write your own answer and cross check with the topper copy how he had written, how he or she had written, and how he or she had presented it well. So that might help you to know how to write like a topper. And I had referred to n number of topper copies, especially during my mains. What I used to do is before I sleep, I used to refer to one topper copy, how he had presented, how he or she had used various diagrams in his answer, and also various toppers had uploaded various good valuation notes on the material. I had used them extensively, so you can also follow these kind of approaches and strategies. And then, so as after you finished writing the last 5 years PYQ, you can go for the in various institute test series. So by the test series, they will give you a good feedback and also writing tests in the actual 3 hour environment. So that might also help you in a better question. That will make you to write to prepare yourselves for the actual UPSC exam. So if you are appearing for 2025, I would suggest you to in the first 6 months till December. So focus more on the mains part. So by December end, you should be in a position to write GS1, GS2, GS3, and GS4 in proper 3 hours. So if you are done that, your next 3 months might be very smooth. So you can just focus on value addition and other stuff, and you can invest your more time on your optional. So GS, these are all the techniques which I had used. And for essay ka, the similarly in the Sunday magazine of Hindu, every year there will be in the Sunday magazine of question every in the Sunday magazine of Hindu, every week there will be book summaries. So I used to collect these book summaries and used to incorporate them in my answers as well. So that helped a lot. So I'm audible, right, and I'm also visible, right? So anybody in comment section can reply. So I'm audible and visible, right? And now we'll take some queries from the question from the chats. So after resolving your queries, I'll move towards the optional strategy. So that might help you, I guess. So if you have any queries, please feel free to post this in the comment section. Yeah, somebody had asked me about CSAT strategy. Yes, for CSAT, what I had done is I made my comprehension very strong, so that I and other area, that is, you should not ignore completely the other areas such as maths and reasoning. So in comprehension, I used to target some 80 to 90 percentage accuracy, so that in the actual exam I won't feel so anxious. If the last year paper was very difficult, especially in terms of mathematics and reasoning. So in the test series, I was comfortably solving some 30 to 35 questions. But in the actual exam for mathematics, I could able to solve only 20 questions. So that itself might create anxiety if you are not prepared either of the portions well. So if you are weak at either of the portions, what I would suggest you is prepare your maths very strongly. Okay, with very few areas, if you prepare, like for example, syllogism, percentages, etc., percentages, permutation and combination, etc., that will help you a lot. So you'll be able to attempt maximum questions from these kind of easy portion. For CSAT, major thing is time management. If a question is taking you more than 2 minutes, please ignore it and go to the next question. And as I said earlier, for comprehension, I would target some 80% accuracy. For max question, if I'm sure of the answer and if I am able to solve it into 2 minutes, I will attend it, or else I will skip that question and move to next question. At max, you need to do some 40 to 50 questions in CSAT to clear the paper. So that means you have the option to leave 40% of the questions in CSAT. So think accordingly, strategize accordingly, practice a lot for CSAT, do what works for you. Somebody might be good in maths as well if they're able to solve it in meantime. So go for that approach. Even though I'm an engineer, so that those questions I found it very difficult in the examination hall to solve it. So main thing I would advise for CSAT is practice and don't ignore it. Especially in the last 5 months, practice regularly. How long did you take to complete GS4? For GS4, if you prepare well, along with answer writing, you can finish it in 1 month. So in 15 days, you can go for revising various concepts, and in the another 15 days, you can revise the various. You can practice answer writing. For GS4, rather than studying, the main thing is practicing answer writing. So that will help a lot. This is your first attempt and I am feeling not ready. What would you suggest me? If at all I didn't qualify in advice, whether to join an academy for my preparation. So it is okay if you prepare from home. Even in my first attempt, I was preparing mostly from home. I know many people who didn't even go to write a single test in offline, and they did everything from their home. So it is completely doable. So I would suggest you don't feel anxious. Anxiety is part of this preparation. So it's okay if you don't enroll for a class, but it is mandatory that you should enroll for a test series. So that will help you. Even the test series are freely available in the Telegram channels and free UPSC material. So that might help you a lot. So focus on these things, and whether to join our academy or not, it is your personal call. Choose which suits you more. So my name is Mukilan, and some person had asked my name. And if at all you didn't qualify, strategies accordingly. In my first attempt, I was not able to qualify prelims, so I analyzed your own mistakes, analyze whether your conceptual clarity is there, and analyze it based on your own strengths and weaknesses. So any other queries, if you have, please post it in the comment section. So I'll address it, and then I'll move towards my optional strategy. Okay, I'll start my anthropology preparation. So I had taken a call where I decided to prepare my optional on my own. Since I had an interest towards genetics during my school days, I had chosen this optional, and it was actually time consuming. I have a regret that I shouldn't have done that, because mostly I focused more on making notes during my initial days rather than going for conceptual clarity, which costed me at last. So what I would suggest you is, if you're especially if you're from a non-humanities background, even I'm also from a non-humanities background. I had in engineering during my college days, and if you're going for some humanities, so if you join some coaching, or even if you watch some lectures, some freely available lectures, so that might help you in gaining a conceptual clarity. So for optional, main thing is conceptual clarity. So you're going to spend almost 60% of your time on your optional. So choose your option wide, based on your own interest, whether it is scoring or not, whether some topper had chosen this option or not. These are all some secondary factors. I know many people who cleared even with engineering optionals, literature optional, etc. So my advice is, first, choosing an optional should be based on your own interest only. So it should not be misguided because of some other people had chosen this. You should not choose that. So once you have decided to choose an optional, main thing for optional is PYQ, PYQ, PYQ. So I can't emphasize more than that. If you are having a proper content for last 10 years of PYQs in your optional, close to 300 to 350 questions will be the repetition of PYQs. So I'll discuss about CSAT in the meantime. Thank you so much for connecting, Viyash. And yeah, so I was telling about my optional anthropology. And in anthropology, what I had done is, first main thing is, don't go behind the books which are written by toppers such as Akshat Jain and Vivek Basan, because they'll give you 220 to 230 marks, but scoring those kind of marks won't help you in the actual exam. So your rank will also be lost. So what I would suggest you is, go for the standard books such as Nadim Hasnain, Tribal India, as well as the book on Indian anthropology by Nadim Hasnain by paper two. And for paper one, I would strongly suggest you to read Ember and Ember. So even though it is a bulky book, you start your anthropology preparation by reading that book. So that will help you to analyze, to think like an anthropologist, how he or she is giving an opinion, how you can analyze various issues from anthropological perspective. So that will be developed only if you read that book. If you just simply read Akshat Jain or Vivek Basen, you won't even have a conceptual clarity. So that is one mistake which most of the people do. And another thing is, don't run behind the topper's notes without even studying a particular content or a topic from these sources which are there. So I would strongly suggest you to read the book by Ember and Ember, and then move towards syllabus, and then PYQs. So first you finish reading Ember and Ember like a storybook, what he or she is trying to convey, and then I'll share my book list which I had used for anthropology. For paper one, I had referred to as I said earlier, a book on anthropology by Ember and Ember, as well as the book on for socio-cultural anthropology. I relied on the book by Majumdar and Madan for various topics such as marriage, family, and kinship. For anthropological theories, I refer to the Karandeep Singh sir's handouts, as well as I refer to his lectures, which cover them comprehensively. And then the book boy, there is a popular anthropological thought book that I referred for this portion. And then for physical anthropology, I refer to the PNAT very selectively. Rather than going for PNAT, go for the IGNO materials, especially for physical anthropology. They have good content. So focus on the IGNO materials for physical anthropology, and then go for the PNAT for selective reading. And for the topics such as primates, archaeological anthropology, etc., go for the IGNO materials. For archaeological anthropology, IGNO material is very, very comprehensive for each and every era, such as Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. They have good content for all the sites. You no need to do anything else other than the IGNO material. And you can always supplement. For physical anthropology, I supplemented my notes with Narayan Amitsar's notes, and for sociocultural anthropology, I supplemented it with Mandar Patkit notes. So basically, my notes were a compilation of various sources, and also I used to take examples from Narayan Amitsar and Mandar Patkit's notes. So that and my notes were in question answer format. For each and every question, I would make a proper intro and proper conclusion, as well as how I would present it in the exam hall if it is a 20 marker and 10 marker. All these were predetermined. So if you have this predetermined kind of answers, so that might help you to score more in the actual exam. For anthropology, especially in paper one, your focus should be more on the anthropological theories. That is topic 6, as well as the topic on primates, archaeological anthropology, and human evolution. So, and also chapter 10, 11, and 12. Chapter 10 and 12 make your option very comprehensively, make it very, very, prepare it very well. Many people ignore it actually. For human growth and development, PNAT as well as IGNO you can refer. For fertility and fecundity, don't write just the case studies which is there in the Vivek Basem or Akshay Jain. You can always search Google. Nowadays, Chat GPT, if you give it a good prompt, it will show you various strategies, various case studies, so which you can use it directly in the exam. So during my mains preparation, only this Chat GPT was gaining prominence. So especially for my optional for value addition, I had used it extensively. So you can also incorporate it during your mains preparation as well. So so this is about the sources which I had used for paper one. And for paper two, what I had done is the same, the two books on Nadim Hasnain. For archaeology, you can go for you can integrate your paper one and paper two, and you can read. And then for the most important chapter in paper two is the topic on Indian anthropologist. So if you prepare the chapter 4 very well, each and every Indian anthropologist, if you do by heart, you can use it in various in your section A as well as section B. For tribal anthropology, you can just directly quote a case study. And for Indian anthropology, if there's a question on caste, for example, if sometimes nowadays the questions directly come, GS Durye's views on tribals, uh, and Majumdar's views on different Majumdar's contributions to Indian anthropology. So if you attempt these kind of questions, you will be able to score more in your optional. So main thing about paper two is choosing a question which is not repetitive, and also which helps you to score more. So I'll try to attempt more questions from archaeology. So that helped a lot in getting 137 in paper one, though it is not a great score. But in paper one, I got quite a decent score. And then this is about anthropology. Main thing is don't get misguided by this books on Akshay Jain and Vivek Basan. So those are all not sufficient. So read from the standard sources and also gain a conceptual understanding. Even if your notes are ready for 70% of your optional, you can very well do it after your prelims as well and gain a comparatively a good score. So main thing about anthropology is value addition. Don't just rightly outrightly do what the topper has read or topper had suggested. So this is about all about anthropology. And main thing is do differentiate your answers in anthropology. Don't follow the crowd, because this many people actually write exam with anthropology as an optional. So it makes you to makes you it there is so much things which many people leave actually. They simply write it from Akshay Jain and score very less marks. Don't do these mistakes. Even I had also done that. So please don't do these mistakes in anthropology. So yes, now we'll go for the questions and we'll wrap it up our session in some 10-15 minutes. So if you have any other queries, please feel free to use the comment section. and give your questions. Sir, I have completed reading of current affairs and static, trying to revision but scoring constantly low, but not able to push my marks above 50 in GS. So please suggest a way. Current affairs, you treat it as a subject. Don't overdo it, because whatever sources you read for PT 365 or whatever magazines you read, at max for out of 100 questions, some 20 to 25 questions might come from current affairs, and out of the 20 to 25 questions at max you will know with surety some 10 questions. Rather than focusing on these 10 questions, focus on the remaining 50 to 60 questions which comes from the static portion. So make your static very strong for prelims. If your mark scores is less, so try to analyze in which subject you are making mistake. For example, if you are making so much mistakes on economy, go back, sit with the paper. For example, if there is a question on inflation and you had made it wrong, analyze whether it is a conceptual mistake or whether you had forgotten some facts. So do that. So do for all the 100 questions, do that. Do this kind of reverse engineering. For example, if you had made a mistake on the Charter Act of 1813, so revise all the acts which are given in the first chapter of Lakshmikant. So like that, you analyze the mock test. For prelims, solving mock test is just 1 to 1.5 hours, and the rest of the time you should give only for analyzing your paper. So that will help you a lot. And for current affairs, I would suggest you to do the newspaper religiously. I used to follow newspapers till only 1 month before my prelims and 15 days before my mains. I left newspaper reading. Other than that, over the past 3 4 years, I was continuously following any one newspaper. You can either follow Hindu or the Indian Express. I would suggest strongly to follow Indian Express because it has more UPSC relevant content, and also you can add lots of value addition points from Indian Express as well. And other than that, I would not suggest you to make any specific notes from newspaper in related to news articles and all. If there is any good valuation content, if there is any good quote, or if there is any relevant case studies which you can use it in newspaper, you can take it and write it in your answers, so that you can have a good repository for that. So that might help, and you can go for any monthly magazines at the end to consolidate your current affairs, and also yearly compilations also might be sufficient. So this is all about current affairs preparation. Yes, for mains, making syllabus-wise notes is vital. It is very, very important. For each and every subtopic in the syllabus, I had 3 to 4 page notes. For example, if there is a topic on e-governance, I would write a good intro, I would write a good conclusion, and also so that might be used in my answers as well. And if there is any good diagram which I can make, for example, if there is a citizen charter question, I always had that one flowchart. And if there is a question on poverty, I would always draw that vicious cycle of poverty. So these all will come to your mind only when you make syllabus wise notes. So that is mandatory. So without those kind of notes, you can never go to mains and clear it. So most of the people who cleared will obviously have a syllabus wise notes. So your mains will be done only if you have the syllabus wise notes at least before prelims. For each and every subtopic, you should definitely have it. So how to value add from newspaper for mains? So for mains, what I would suggest you is, for example, I would tell you a good example for this. For in every Sunday there will be in Hindu there will be book summaries. What you can do is you can have a collection of the books written there and the summaries of the books. For example, if there is an essay, if that book is directly related to that particular topic of the essay, you can start with that summary itself, with the summary of the book in your intro. And also, if there is any good ethical act by a collector, or also some unethical act by a collector, or some bureaucrat, etc., you can very well use it in your examples on mains. And for example, in most of the editorials, especially for international relations, sometimes there will be good points which will be written at the end of the answer, some futuristic solutions. And if there are any good initiatives, for example, waste management related itself, Miyawaki method was detailed in one of the early editions of Hindu. So these kind of inputs, you can use it in newspaper for value addition. Sometimes we don't have mood to study at all. How to deal with that and come out of that laziness? For tackling laziness, what I would suggest is, if you are preparing at home, use apps such as Forest. and focus, etc. So have a timer for 55 minutes, and don't overdo some and not so practical, like you studying for 4 or 5 hours continuously without any break. So that and all will not work. So study for 50 to 50, use Pomodoro technique. Study for 50 to 55 minutes and have some 5-10 minutes break, and don't overdo the break hours as well. And also, like if you the I would always target some 8 to 10 hours of productive studies rather than going for 15 to 16 hours of unproductive studies. So go for the focused and dedicated 8 to 10 hours. So that will help you a lot. And for coming out of laziness, so what I would do is, so I won't read on my bed. So that will obviously make me laziness. I would have a table in my room, and in during my home preparation, I would have a table and I would sit and study there. And in when I was in Bangalore, I will never study in my room. I'll go to the study hall, and when I'm in study hall, I used to keep that. I used to study there only. I won't do any other things. Some days I used to if I want to, especially during my during 3 months before prelims and 3 months before mains, I used to keep my touch phone in my room itself and go to study hall without any touch phone. I have a basic phone. So nowadays most of our addiction comes through mobile phones. So after in the night, I would go and look if there is any messages or calls. I would attend it after I go to my room. So in the study hall, it's meant for study. So like that, have a place where you should study, not have any other engagements. So focus on these things. And also, if you are feeling lazy because of lack of sleep, so I would suggest have minimum 6 to 7 hours of sleep. So that will help you to focus more. So if there is any specific queries, you can feel free to ask. Uh, so you're saying that note making for anthropology should be limited. No, 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 no. For anthropology, note making is vital. It is obviously necessary. We should have in proper question answer format. As more than 300 to 300, 350 questions in 350 marks in anthropology will be repeated from PYQs. You always go for the standard sources. Don't just copy down Akshat Jain or Vivek Basem and make it as a note. So that itself it's already a note. Go through standard sources, go through standard books, and for optional, once your standard books are done, go to any other toppers notes. I extensively refer to Mandapatki sir's notes and Narayana Amit sir's notes. Go to their notes and add value addition. Do value addition from their notes as well. For example, if you can add 1 point from Narayana Amit notes other than what he had written, then you are done. So similarly, for each and every question, add some 2 to 3 points. So that will help you a lot. Next. Next question. While doing PYQ, whether we have to attend as a question or learn it PYQ books, sir. So don't solve PYQs like a mock test. So you should, especially if you are beginning your preparation. So analyzing PYQs is very important. Without PYQ, you can't clear prelims. So start from question number one till question number 100. Once you are done with your basic syllabus and basic concepts, preferably in the month of January. So dedicate 10 days only to PYQ. Start from question number 1 to question number 100, at least for last 10 years. Analyze each and every question, analyze each and every answer, see what that person, see why UPSC examiner had given this option as an answer, and analyze each and every options. For example, the questions on national parks, the questions on wildlife sanctuary, etc. Analyze each and every option. So that will help you a lot to locate various places which are given on the map. So if you analyze the syllabus properly, analyze the PYQs properly, for prelims every year there will be a question on Buddhism and Jainism. Similarly, for polity every year there will be a question on fundamental rights. So based on that, you can prioritize topics which are necessary for your prelims. So this you do, analyze each and every question, analyze each and every option, so that you can, especially people who are staying in borders, like for example people who are getting 60s or 70s, in actual exam I'm saying, by analyzing the questions you can able to very well increase your score to 70s and 80s. And sir, I am starting with newspaper reading and current affairs is difficult and boring at first. So if your current affairs is boring, so actually for me, newspaper reading is more enthusiastic and energetic for me. So I always used to keep newspaper at the end of the day, so that I love reading newspapers, because you'll get to know what are the things which are happening around the world. And also like whatever you're reading in static, the application of that will be reflected in your newspapers. So I would suggest you, don't you can go for news analysis videos, especially if you are beginning. So to understand what is necessary for the UPSC exam and analyze it accordingly. And for newspapers, focus more on editorials in the beginning, what that particular person is trying to convey, and go for newspaper analysis. And then finish your polity and economics static first. If you are starting for 2025, finish up, because most of the news will be involved with polity and economy. So if your static is very strong in these areas, so that might help you a lot. Okay, any other questions? Is there? Please post it. We'll wrap it in 5-10 minutes. Whether we need to have a peer group or not. So yes, the peer group is actually, I had a good peer group. Peer group in the sense, not like where we need to every day we need to discuss with them. It's not like that. We had one group during the 4 months of May. So we used to post our daily day-to-day targets. Like in the morning, they also used to post their day-to-day targets, whether they had completed the targets or not. So if someday I am studying for 8 hours and they are studying for 12 hours, so obviously it would motivate me to push myself more. So these kind of things will always help. And many people used to discuss among their peer groups, but that discussion, you should be your own self is like 70%, and the 30% peer groups also helps you a lot, especially during your interview preparation. You'll obviously get lots of peer group. You'll get to know most of unknown people who have interviewed during the same phase or your day of the interview, and you can discuss it among themselves. So that might not be an issue. But if you're having a good peer group, that might help in various ways and will give you a peer pressure to perform better. So that helped me a lot. I'm sharing based on my own experience. And thank you so much, everyone, for and UPSC time for giving me a platform to interact with you all. So this is my first experience of interacting in a live, especially through video. So thank you so much, everyone, for connecting. So if you have any queries, you can always reach out to me on Instagram, Mugilan Ramu, or you can connect me to Telegram, UPSC with Mugil. I thank each and every one of you for your patience time amidst this cricket season which is going on. So hope you all had a good Sunday, and keep hustling and keep working hard. So thank you all.